Hi everyone, welcome to week 3 of iOS Programming for Sport. This week we're going to be looking at 3 particular classes. First one is NSString, second one is NSArray, and the third one is NSMutableArray. So what I'd like you to do is to create a new project with just a single view application. Okay, so that's an application with just one screen. The first thing that we're going to do is put it into split view, and we're going to create a label. So drag a label out of your object library and you can center it and make it bold. Make it a little bit bigger. Okay, and like we've done before, you control, click, drag, and we want an outlet, and we're going to call it my label. Connect that up. Okay, so what we're going to be doing is looking at the NSString class first, and the NSString class deals with strings, and for all intents and purposes strings are words, and that is a really common programming task, that you have to put words onto the screen for people to read or to explain different functions of your application, and often you will need to manipulate those strings. So the NSString class has a heap of methods in there, and some of those I'm going to show you today that allows us to manipulate those strings. Okay, so if we hop over to the .m file, gives a bit more room. Okay, so we're going to start by going to the viewDidLoad method, and we're going to make reference to our label as we've done previously. So self.mylabel.text, and we're just going to allocate a static string. My age is 40 and my name is Eric Clapton, or you can put whatever words you want. And if we run that in the simulator, and there we go. So we have text in our label. Okay, so that's working. Now the first method that I'm going to show you is a method that will that will return, in other words, give back to us the number of characters in the string. So it will count the number of characters in this string. And to do that, we're just going to make an nslog call, so the result will appear in the console window down here. So we're going to call nslog, and we're going to say my label has %i characters. Okay, so the method that we're going to call will return an integer, and that's why we've got %i. So here we're going to make our call. So self mylabel.text space, and as you type len for length, you will get this particular method of NSString. Close it with a square brackets, semicolon. So when we run this application, this string here should appear, and this will be replaced by the length, the number of characters in this string. Okay, so let's run that. Okay, so my age is 40 and my name is Eric Clapton is the string in our label. And in the console, my label has 40 characters. Okay, and that looks about right. Okay, so this is a method length that is part of the NSString class. And so we can call that method. We can send this, what's called a message, to this particular object. Okay, and that will return a value. And actually, if you click on the method name itself, in this section here, it will give you some documentation about the method. So the method name, what it actually does. So it returns the number of Unicode characters in the receiver, which is this. And it tells you which class it's in, and this is the NSString class. So one of the things to do is, when you have this here, is if you single click on this link here, it will open up what's called the organizer, and it will show you all of the documentation related to that particular class. So all of the documentation around the NSString class is here, and it gives you some information about the class itself. As you can see, string objects, gives you information about the strings and the characters themselves. But if you keep on scrolling, what you'll come to is a list of tasks. And these are all of the methods that you can access within the NSString class to do different things, to manipulate strings. And the one that we have used is there. So they're categorized by what they actually do. So getting a string's length. So that is the method that we just used there, the length. And if you click on that, it gives you a description of what the method does. So it returns an integer object. Okay. Tells you exactly what the method does. So we'll close that down. Okay, next up is a method called substring from index. Okay, in this case, I'm going to create, as I said last week, a pointer. So this is a pointer, what's called a pointer. And self mylabel dot text space, and now this is where I can type the method name. So it's substring from index. So I want that one there. Hit the enter button. Now what it's asking for its argument, which is this bit here, is it's asking for an integer, so a whole number. And this particular method, what it will do, it will return us a substring, in other words a smaller string from this string, and it's asking for the starting point. Okay, so which index number, which is the count of the characters, where do we want this substring to start from? And I'm just going to say 10. Okay, and then so that particular substring, which should start at 40, I think, will be stored effectively in this pointer here. So now we want to create another log call and say substring equals, and this time we're going to use %at because we're dealing with a string. And then what are we going to replace this symbol with? Well, we're going to replace it with this object letter. Okay, so let's run that. And there we have, so this is what's being printed to the console. substring equals 40 and my name is Eric Clapton. So it's taken a substring of this original string, and that substring has started from the 10th character, which is there, and then it's returned this portion of the string as a new string, stored it in here, and then we've got that string back again by calling it here. Okay, so that's how you can take an existing string and grab a portion of that and then do something with it. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to compare two strings to see if they have the same words in them. So we're going to make two strings, string 1 and just going to call it David. String 2, William. Okay, so we have two string pointers, one with a static string of David and another one with a static string of William. So what if we want to compare those two and see if they are the same? Well, we can do that with an if statement, like we saw last week. So the if statement does its comparisons in this section here, and then if the conditions here are met, it will execute all of the statements in here. We're also going to do an else section to this, okay, because we want to evaluate if the first string is the same as the second string. We're going to write something to the console, and if it's not the same, we're going to write something else to the console. Okay, so to compare the two strings, we're going to start by calling string 1, and then we're going to use a method called isEqualToString. And this method takes an argument of an NS string. So we need another string to compare to this string here. So we have our second string. So string 2. Close off the method. Okay. So if string 1 is equal to string 2, then we're going to log to the console. Now here we could say David is equal to William. Okay, we could write it out literally, but a better way to do it is to reference the actual contents of the string. So by doing %at is equal to %at, and then we say string 1, comma, string 2. If we copy that and paste it here, we can just change that to is not equal to. Okay, let's run that. So here is the console output. David is not equal to William. Okay, so it's compared string 1 with string 2, and it's seen that the string objects are not the same. They're different words essentially, and so it's skipped over this and it's executed the else section. So string 1, in this case David, is not equal to string 2, William. Okay, so that's an easy way of comparing two strings.